Hello and welcome to For You. Hey, Laura.
Hey,
We're
and
back
your
for day.
race.
I'm Reese. Thank you. We're
Mm-hmm.
back for day 2 of our article about molecular gastronomy and how it can spice up your food. Yesterday, we learned that molecular gastronomy is using science to change food. So, before
Mm.
we dive into the article, Laura, did you know that actually we've been using science to change food for a very long time through genetic modification?
Oh my God, is it harmful to our health, or should I be eating these?
I mean, it can be bad, but if used responsibly,
Um,
it can be good. So, for
mm-hmm.
example, the bananas that we eat today didn't always look like that. Bananas used to be
Really?
small and they didn't taste very good, but through
Oh,
genetic breeding, we changed the way that bananas grow and it makes them easier for us to
oh,
eat.
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't really mind that. Okay, so maybe they're okay when they're genetically modified. Hmm.
Okay, well, that's interesting, but let's go to the article and find out more about this scientific food.
Reading. Molecular gastronomy spices up your food. Although molecular gastronomy can be complex, you don't have to be a scientist to try it. If you want to give it a go, you might like to try something called spherification. Spherification creates small balls out of liquids, a little like bubbles. To do this, you need to mix two chemicals, sodium alginate and calcium chloride, with water and a flavored liquid of your choice. The flavored liquid can be pretty much anything from juice to milk. Many chefs today use molecular gastronomy in their cooking. Perhaps the best example is Heston Blumenthal. Blumenthal has become famous for experimenting with food. His restaurant, The Fat Duck, has earned 3 Michelin stars for its special dishes. His creations include things like snail porridge and meat fruit. Blumenthal says that his style of cooking allows people to experience new things. He doesn't think modern techniques should replace traditional cooking methods, though, only aid them. Whether you want to consider molecular gastronomy to be real cooking or just a novelty is up to you.
So today's article begins with, although molecular gastronomy can be complex, you don't have to be a scientist to try it. That's good
Hmm.
because I'm not a scientist and I could try it
No.
too.
Yay.
Complex. Complex is an adjective that means complicated or not simple. If something is complex, it has many different parts. Machines are complex physical things, and ideas can be complex too. Like, how's the best way to run a country? That's a complex question. Here's an example sentence. The human body is a complex collection of bones, muscles, and organs.
OK，没错，文章提到就是说，虽然分子料理可能，你觉得好像很复杂哦，但是你不需要成为一个科学家来试做它哦。OK，其中我们提到这个字就是 complex or complex 都可以哦，就是复杂的、难懂的，它是一个形容词。像是你们常常有没有这种经验啊？就是去看一部电影，然后发现说，它的情节或是它的故事好像看不太懂，有点复杂诶。The film's plot was so complex that I couldn't follow it。这部电影的情节太复杂，我看不懂。或者是可能有时候你可能在聊一些心事，然后可能对方也听不懂，你就会说 The situation is more complex than you realize。这个情况可能比你想象中还要复杂，一言难尽啊。
Luckily, we are nice and simple people. We're not
Yes,
complex,
we
are we, Laura?
are. Yeah, totally.
Okay, back to the article. If you want to give it a go, you might like to try something called Spherification. Oof, that's a hard word to say.
Spherification.
So, before we learn about spherification, let's talk about the phrase give it a go. Give it a go is a verb phrase that means to try something, although we would usually use this phrase for something that's not super important, maybe something that's fun.
Okay, like maybe a game or something, yeah. Okay, 所以如果你想要尝试看看，刚刚我们提到的分子料理，你也可以呢，试做一个东西叫做有点难念哦 ，spherification，sorry，
Spherification.
好难哦，因为 sphere 我们都知道是像球状的东西 ，like a ball-shaped thing，OK，所以这个是叫什么金球化 ，OK，所以你们也可以试试看，试着做 ，give something a go， 就是这样的意思咯 ，give it a go。那刚课文的句子呢，其实就有提到一个关系子句简化为这个分词片语，所以它会删去关系代名词，像是 who 啊、which、that 等等。那句子为被动语态的话，也就是 be 动词再加上 PP， 我们只要去除 be 动词，然后保留过去分词。所以刚刚课文的句型，如果原本它应该长这个样子哦。If you want to give it a go, you might like to try something that is called spherification. 但是我们可以把 that is 给去除掉。Okay, let's continue reading.
Let's do it. The article says spherification creates small balls out of liquids, a little like bubbles. Okay, sounds cool. Before we talk about bubbles, what about this phrase out of? If you say something is out of, it means it's made from. Small balls made from liquids. Small balls out of liquids. For example, in my bedroom, I have a horse toy made out of wood.
Oh, super cute. OK， 好，课文提到就是金球化是将这个液体，这个液体型塑成它的形状塑成这个小球体哦，好难讲哦。它有点像是泡泡的样子啊，简单来说就是这样子。那 out of something 就是由什么制成、由什么构成的意思。举例来讲 ，He made a hat for himself out of newspaper， 这个也是蛮简单，用报纸做一个顶帽子哦。And we also saw the word bubble.
Love this word. So bubble is a noun, and a bubble is a thin, round sphere or ball of liquid with gas inside. So imagine a balloon, except the outside part isn't rubber, it's a liquid. So we can make bubbles using soap, and bubbles can float around in the air because they're so light. An example sentence could be, using a mixture of soap and water, I blew bubbles into the air.
I love that. OK， 我们来看一下 bubble. I know, super cute. Bubble 其实就是有气泡啦，或是水泡，或是泡泡的意思。它是个名词，像是刚刚 Reese 有提到 soap bubbles， 就是我们可以用肥皂水，然后就可以吹那个可爱的泡泡。Like whenever we take a bubble bath when we were a kid, the kids like bubbles in their bath， 就是洗泡泡浴的时候，就是可以顺便玩泡泡啦。Or I love champagne. 我很喜欢香槟。I think it's the bubbles that make it so good. 我觉得它很棒的地方就是它的气泡。没错 ，bubble 也有气泡的意思哦。
Okay, back to the article. The article says to do this, you need to mix two chemicals, sodium alginate and calcium chloride, with water and a flavored liquid of your choice.
These are so hard, OK？ 所以要这么做的话呢，你需要把水和两个化学物，就是海藻酸钠，还有 calcium chloride， 就是氯化钙 ，OK？ 要混在一起，然后要选择一个调味过的液体哦。那刚刚呢，其实我们还看到 of one's choice， 就是由某人自由选择的。For example, they said I could bring a guest of my choice to the party, and of course I'm bringing you, Reese. We're my best
Thank you
friend.
so
Okay.
much.
Okay. Going to the party.
Back to the article, it says the flavored liquid can be pretty much anything, from juice to milk.
Nice, OK， 所以这可能几乎差不多可以是任何的，就是液体哦，刚刚有提到，那从这个果汁到牛奶都可以哦。其中提到的 pretty much 就是几乎差不多。
So the article continues, many chefs today use molecular gastronomy in their cooking. So let's talk about the word chef here. Chef, C-H-E-F, is a noun, and a chef is a person who cooks. Chef usually means that their job is to cook. So what's the difference between a chef and a cook, which is another word we describe that job with? Well, a cook is somebody who prepares and cooks food, whereas a chef is somebody who is skilled and trained in cooking food. Usually they would work in a hotel or a restaurant. I think chef is maybe a bit higher than a cook.
That's right, they get paid. OK， 那现在很多厨师其实都会用分子料理在他们的料理当中。其中的 chef 这个字呢，注意哦，它 ch 是发 sh 的音哦，它好像是一个法文字。I think it's a French word. Chef 就是厨师。
Okay, well, back to the article, and it introduces a famous chef. Perhaps the best example is Heston Blumenthal. Blumenthal has become famous for experimenting with food. Yeah, I've heard of him before.
Same. OK， 可能最好的例子呢，提到这个分子料理就是 Heston Blumenthal。OK， 他是以实验食物为很成名、很有名哦。
Yeah, so more about him. His restaurant, The Fat Duck, great name, has earned 3 Michelin stars for its special dishes. His creations include things like snail porridge and meat fruit. Sounds strange. Let's talk about the word creation here. Creation is used as a noun. Create, the verb, means to make something, usually something new. So the noun creation is the thing that you make.
Exactly. OK， 这里呢，其实我也应该很好奇，所以我就去网络上再爬文了一下哦。哇，果真呢，它的餐厅就是我们刚刚提到 The Fat Duck，I love this name。OK， 就是肥鸭餐厅，是全球知名的米其林餐厅哦。而且呢，它也是听说这个全英国最快摘取米其林3星的传奇哦。那他的作品我觉得超神奇的，有这个瓜牛桌 snail porridge。OK， 就是粥就是 porridge， 还有这个我觉得蛮有趣，我可能会吃吃看，就是 meat fruit， 就是鲜肉果。那刚刚我们有提到的 Michelin star 就是米其林星级哦。OK， 那其实最高的是好像是3颗星，就是有非常高水准的餐厅才可以拿得到哦。那当然呢，法文它可能的发音就是有点不同，就是 Michelin。OK， 那 creation 刚刚一直提到这个字，就是指作品的意思啦。
Blumenthal says that his style of cooking allows people to experience new things. He doesn't think modern techniques should replace traditional cooking methods, though, only aid them. All right, that was a big, long sentence with a lot of ideas. Let's talk about the word technique first. Technique is a noun, and a technique is a particular way of doing something. Usually, a technique is learned. You need to spend time to learn techniques for doing things. The word technique, however, can be used for pretty much everything. So cooking techniques are ways of cooking food, and writing techniques are ways of writing. Here's an example sentence. My friend Sam is the best soccer player in our school. He has amazing techniques for handling the ball.
Wow, technique 哦，就是指技法或是技术哦，它是一个名词。那不只是用在料理，像是运动， Yoga is a very effective technique for combating stress. Okay, 就是 if you want to kind of relieve yourself from stress, you could try yoga. I use a special technique to make the bread. As you can see, the word technique can also be used in cooking. 就是如果你想要做面包，你可以用一个特别的技巧或是技术哦。And I believe we saw the word replace, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a verb, and to replace means to take the place of something else. So imagine in the corner of your bedroom, you have an old broken closet that's really ugly. If you throw it away and buy a new one, you have replaced it. So replace means to get rid of something old and put a new thing where it was. The article talks about replacing old ways of cooking with new ways of cooking. That means people might stop using the old way and maybe use the new way. Although Heston Blumenthal thinks that we shouldn't replace them, we should just add them together. So here's an example sentence. I need to replace the lamp in my bedroom. It broke last night.
Replace 这个字就是取代啦，代替它是一个动词哦，像是这个例句 ：The factory replaced most of its workers with robots. 啊，这间工厂用机器人取代大多数的工人，该不会是未来可能会发生的事吧？又或者这个可能 ，this is a better one. Okay, plastic bags have been largely replaced by paper bags. That's a good thing. We should use paper bags more often.
Save the environment. We also saw the verb aid here, A-I-D. Aid means to help someone, usually in a practical way. To aid means to give somebody a hand or to help them do something. People can aid each other. So if I help Laura to move her things from one place to another, I'm aiding her. An example sentence with aid could be, once you've finished your essay, could you aid me with mine? I don't really understand the question.
Of course, anytime. 我们来看一下 aid 就是指帮助、有助于这样的意思，它是一个动词哦。举例来讲 ，He jumped into the water to aid the drowning child. Woohoo! What a brave guy! 他跳进水里面来救溺水的孩子。Or his research aided in the discovery of a new treatment for cancer. 哇，他的研究帮助找到新的治疗癌症的方法哦。
So back to the article. Whether you want to consider molecular gastronomy to be real cooking or just a novelty is up to you. So the verb consider here is used, and consider has many meanings, but here it means to think of something in a particular way. So the article says whether you want to consider molecular gastronomy to be real cooking. This means that you may or may not think that molecular gastronomy is real cooking. It depends how you consider it. If something is considered to be something, that means there are probably people who disagree. An example sentence could be, I don't consider Michelle to be my friend anymore. The things that she said were just too mean.
OK， 我们来看一下 consider。OK， 在课文的用法是 consider something something to be， 就是认为或是把什么看作的意思，像是 Friends. Oh my God, is a show that is considered one of the best comedies ever. I love Friends, OK？ 但是呢 ，consider 如果单单用的话呢，它是指考虑的意思哦，它是一个动词。举例来讲 ，Please consider what I've said， 请认真的考虑我刚刚所说的话。
Okay, we also saw the word novelty here, which is an interesting word. Novelty here is used as a noun, and something that is a novelty is a thing that is intended to be amusing or fun because of its design. Basically, that means a novelty, whatever the thing is, should not be taken seriously and was created just to be funny or entertaining. So by saying that molecular gastronomy might be a novelty, the article is saying some people think it's not a serious way of cooking, it's just a fun thing to try.
Novelty 当然就是新奇的事物啦，它是一个名词哦。
Okay, and then we also saw the phrase up to you. It's up to you what you think of it. Up to you means it's your choice. The decision is yours.
OK, be up to somebody 就是由某人决定。举例来讲，如果人家说 Do you want Chinese food tonight or Italian？ 那如果你觉得说都没有关系啊，就是 It doesn't matter to me, so it's up to you， 由你来做决定哦。
There we are. That's the end of our 2-day article about molecular gastronomy. Sounds interesting. Perhaps a new way of cooking food. Let's go to our For You chat question to wrap things up.
For You chat.
Here's our For You chat question. Do you think molecular gastronomy is real cooking? Explain your answer, Reese.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it depends how we define cooking, but for me, cooking means making or preparing food, and molecular gastronomy is about making and preparing food just in a different way. So yeah, it's definitely cooking.
And I think it's so creative. I really want to try all kinds of different ideas or different creative stuff. And that makes me feel like, oh, I'm so curious, especially the part that says it looks like, one thing, but then tastes like another thing. It's like it will blow your mind.
That's super interesting. Maybe we can find a restaurant in Taipei that has some molecular gastronomy.
Let's do that.
Try it.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, well, you guys can think about this question too. Is it cooking, and would you try it? That's all we have for today. I'm Reese.
And I'm Laura.
And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye. We'll see you. Miss you.
Vocabulary Review.
Complex. Complex. Today's car engines are not easy to fix. They are very complex and have many different parts. Bubble. Sandra put soap in the bath water to make lots of bubbles. Technique. Jack will start his guitar class next week, and he can't wait to learn those cool guitar techniques. Replace. The lock on the door is broken. We should replace it. Aid. The teacher aided the young students as they changed their shoes. Consider. Lucy considers table tennis to be just an activity, not a real sport.
智慧小补帖
Chef. Creation. Porridge. Novelty.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net